So, ever since the weekend when Donald Trump went on his racist rant against the squad, there's been this debate. Is this a political strategy? Is this him being racist? What is it? And very quickly, people seem to jump into one area, attempting to describe the president's racist attacks against these women of color in government as like a plan, a strategy, a tactic. And that was actually predicted almost immediately by Dave Weigel on Twitter, who said someone is absolutely working on a Trump is playing 3D chess by forcing Dems to defend Ilhan Omar take. He was joking there, as he often does on Twitter, but he was not wrong. Almost instantly, like across the spectrum, Breitbart had Dems fall for Trump trap, their headline. You've got NBC Politics analysis. President Trump wants the Democratic Party stuck to its progressive fringe so that he can portray his opponents as too extreme to lead the country. As Democrats defended Speaker Pelosi, he moved quickly, sending some tweets to flip the script. All the way to the CBC, who says tweets condemned as racist are part of Trump's plan, and strategists say it may work. Yeah, so that's a lot of them right there. And the thing is, I think that they're like, we can disagree. Maybe you think that this is a plan, and I'll let you make that case in a second. But there is this attempt to always, like, we have had it drilled into our head over and over and over for years now that Donald Trump is a moron, and yet we still like fear that behind the stupidity is this genius strategist. And that is what he is doing here, is he is deploying his strategy. It's not just knee-jerk racism or anything like that. It's strategy. What do you think?
Have we been told that he's a genius over all these years?
I feel like this is a consistent take, that when he goes crazy about the caravans, this is master strategy. Like, he understands his base, he understands American politics.
I thought you meant we consider himself an idiot over the years before his political life, you know? Because that's what we weren't doing. I mean, as a general public, like, he's a billionaire, he's the greatest businessman on earth, the art of the deal. All that was portrayed, that was part of his, what's got him elected, honestly, was this portrayal of him as this guy who can run the government like a business. The businesses he always ran so well, and it kept pushing that narrative that could be factually like disputed, and it was, but nobody cared because they said, hey, we like propaganda instead. So I mean, even before, during, and will be after this guy's presidency, you're gonna see instances of his racial background and the way he does things. So there's really no, I don't think there's much of an argument as to whether or not he's a racist. It is. He wasn't running for president when he talked about the Central Park Five. And by the way, when he was running for president, he still talked about Central Park Five in wrong ways. So I don't know. It's all just, if you continue to push the narrative, enough people will believe it, and enough people that want to believe it will continue on as well. That's why they had an issue with just the term being used in the first place. Because if we have to talk about this, we have to do it on those terms, and that's one term that they haven't been able to completely, fully say, well, it's okay to be a racist. Just dance around it. And until he actually says the N-word, then he's actually not a racist. He hasn't admitted to it yet until he says, yeah, I'm a straight up racist.
I fear that would not be enough. I mean, like, what, is Tucker Carlson gonna go on a show that night and be like, yep, he said the N-word, I guess he is a racist. I have a feeling they'll find a way to defend him.
Definitely find
even in that case.
But also, I'm sorry. So with the approach that he's having, this three-dimensional chess, and he's playing everybody in the media, there's never a plan. It starts with him doing this. We've seen many instances of him blindsiding his staff in the White House with things that he says. And then once he says it, this is the spin that comes. And yeah, the media is assisting in that spin.
And look, to that, so I want to give credit to Media Matters, particularly Matthew Gertz, who has a tweet that I think should be case closed on this was a plan that they rolled out. Like he was sitting in the shadows and he was watching the squad versus Pelosi and all the fighting and everything. He decided, you know what, I'm gonna wed them together because he noticed that about 20 minutes before that morning's Trump rant, Fox and Friends ran a segment about the squad and aired comments. Representatives Rashida Tlaib and Ayanna Pressley, both born in the US, made a Networks Nation. On the left, Fox and Friends Sunday, 8:06 a.m. On the right, Trump, just 21 minutes later. So it seems like once again what happened is he was sitting around watching Fox and Friends with his chest covered in crumbs and sauce, and he just tweeted what he saw. And that is inconsistent with this is a grand strategy that him and Stephen Miller cooked up and deployed at the exact right time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, and on top of that first tweet, the series of tweets at least, he connected Nancy Pelosi with it. When there's supposed to be this infighting that suddenly, he wants to wed them all together so he can help his election chances. He included her in the last tweet saying, I'm sure Nancy Pelosi will be embarred for that, ha 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 ha. So he thought that it was still happening. He thought there was still
definitely a Looney Tunes thing, but yeah.
So he was thinking, I'm gonna continue to push this divide because Nancy Pelosi hates these four and these four hate her. And then, so how did that suddenly turn into this unification push?
Yeah, one other thing too, if you do believe that he is still the 11-dimensional chess guy, remember he did spell Al-Qaeda A-L-C-A-I-D-A. So there's a few flaws with that, but let's pretend for a second that it is a strategy because some of his supporters want it to be. Some people on the other side are worried about his strategy. Some people, mostly centrist Dems, are like, you know what? It would be bad if we were tied to AOC in the squad. Oh my God, can you imagine if Ilhan Omar and Ayanna Pressley were the face of the party? That's terrifying, but is it actually terrifying? Let's take a look at some of the data we have. Now, on the statement itself, YouGov poll, very clear. We can have Brit Hume saying it wasn't racist and we can debate it here, but the American public is almost twice as likely to say that it was racist as not. That 30%, by the way, is almost exactly Trump's base. I'm not saying that there's direct overlap there necessarily, but the American public is very clear the statements were in fact racist. And now we actually have polls on what that statement might have done to people's view of Donald Trump. Now, the good news for Trump, I guess, is that a new Reuters Ipsos poll showed his net approval among members of the Republican Party rose by 5 percentage points from last week. So as always, at the same exact time as they're arguing that no, blank wasn't racist, behind the scenes they're like, I really like that thing that he said.
Absolutely,
it's totally not racist, but I love it and I love him more for it.
Yeah, they said it straight up. So the push that's saying that, oh, this is working for him as far as his election chances is only amongst his racist base. So to say that, hey, that's gonna help him or this is his strategy to win, maybe it is once it happens. Everything he does is a strategy to win because everything he does is based in racism. So the people that support him, to get him in the first place are like, oh yeah, this is our guy. I remember from 2016 because he did it then too. This isn't different.
And those people were gonna vote for him anyway. Now, outside of that base though, is this a good strategy from the master chess player from Donald Deep Blue Trump? Well, among independents, about 3 out of 10 said they approved of Trump, down from 4 out of 10 a week ago. So he lost, I'm not a mathematician, but something like a third, or I guess that would be a fourth of his support amongst independents in 1 week. That's even in this poll, they're talking about it like, oh yeah, the numbers went down. How do you do that? How difficult is that to do in 1 week? And the thing is, he can't just win Republicans. Remember, he already lost the popular vote. He narrowly won the Electoral College, super narrow. He can't afford to get 5 independents across the country.
You're forgetting
the strategy sucks.
Well, you're forgetting about the second half of the electoral strategy for Republicans is voter suppression.
That's true. They do have that.
That's a strong wing of the campaign strategy.
That's true, but this is, if this is your strategy, this is devastating. And it turns out he's not happy right now. Not because that he's losing independence or whatever, but apparently, this is from Politico, President Trump is reportedly dissatisfied with Republican lawmakers for their lack of defense of his weekend tweets. Everybody was defending him. Everyone was if he said that, I'm actually, my favorite band's Chumbawamba, he wouldn't have gotten as solidified support from the Republican Party as these racist tweets.
Since Trump is their father, it's like one of those fathers who make sure they're continuously hard on their son no matter how well the kid does. The kid does something, he goes, oh, that's not good enough, kid. I'm gonna keep making, because I don't actually wanna voice any kind of support for your life. And then so they continue to stay subservient based on that.
There are multiple elected Republicans, even in the Senate, who have themselves told these women to go home since then. How much more support could you have? But he's sad at home.
Thanks for watching this free clip of the Young Turks. Don't forget to become a TYT member today. For more exclusive content, join now at tyt.com/join.